last year, I asked several of the awardees to give reflections of how the Robin Griffith Norwood Scholarship has impacted their academic endeavors throughout the school year. The first one is from Ananda. Ananda is a student at Spelman College. She completed her first year this year. She's away at Johns Hopkins University conducting humanities research for the summer. However, I did not excuse her from her commitment to the ministry. So she sent us a video.
Praise the Lord, church. I'm so grateful for the Robin Griffith Norwood Scholarship, as it has set me on a path for greatness. The legacy of Robin Griffith Norwood has inspired me to be a high achiever throughout my first year of college. This academic year, I was inducted into Alpha Lambda Delta National Honor Society, accepted into the Spelman Social Justice Program, traveled to Madrid, Spain with my Mali United Nations team, accepted to participate in the first year research experience at Johns Hopkins, and finished with a 3.7 GPA. The Bible Lit community has been some of my biggest support during my transition into college, and I will continue the legacy of greatness that has been passed on to me as a Robin Griffith Norwood Scholar through my college journey and beyond. Love y'all and God bless.
Praise the Lord, church. My name is Taj Patterson, and I attend Mercer University. College is definitely a journey, and I would like to thank you guys for being there every step of the way. Your cards, your gifts, your thoughts, your prayers were greatly appreciated, because not everybody has that support in their lives. Being in college, you see so many faces, you see so many different faces, and you realize that not everybody, that environment has a lot to do with, your environment shapes your view of life. And I wouldn't trade this environment for the world. This environment is an environment of love and support. My first year of college was many things. There was times when it was challenging. There was times when I was homesick. There was times where I missed being here. But I endured through. And I leaned on one of the lessons Lady Robin taught me one Sunday morning. Lady Robin was teaching Sunday school one morning. And one of the things you guys should know about me is, usually in school, I'm kind of quiet, I'm kind of reserved. I kind of act different than what I act here. It's because I love you guys. I'm more comfortable around you guys. In school, I'm not as comfortable. And but Lady Robin saw through this act within the first 5 minutes of Sunday school. So she asked me where I sit in class, and I told her I sit kind of in the middle of the room. I don't sit in the front. And she said, "You will sit in the front. You will sit in the front from now on." And I'm thinking, we hear this speech, sit at the front. That's where you get the most lessons from the teacher. But she had a different approach to it. She says that me sitting in the front sets a precedent for the rest of the students behind me. She said, as smart as I am, that I can get similar grades no matter where I sit in the classroom. But it's up for me to be a leader for the rest of my students. So I take two things from this. One is, it's not always comfortable being in the front. When you're in the front row, people see your mistakes. When you drop your pencil, when you fall asleep in class, they see these things. But mistakes are a part of life, and that only makes us human. The second thing is, when you're a leader, people see your ideals. When people see me, I want people to see the church. I want people to see my family. I want people to see you guys. And most of all, I want people to see Jesus. We are living representations of the things that we believe. I think about Lady Robin every time I get up early in the first week of classes to make sure that I get a front row seat. This helps me through the bad days of college. I know that my peers, my family, and my church family are watching me. But most importantly, I know that God is watching over me. Thank you, Lady Robin, and thank you, you guys.
At this time, Andrew will come and introduce our speakers. After that, we will hear from Kaylin KD could not be here, but with technology, no one is excused from their obligation and responsibility to Bible Way. So we will hear from him remotely. And then we will end with Matthew. And Matthew has a word for us today.
Praise the Lord, church. Our speakers today grew up here at Bible Way and have served in various ministries. First, we will hear from Kaylin White, who just completed high school at Langston Hughes High School and will be attending Alabama A&M University, majoring in business and with the ultimate goal of becoming a successful business owner. Then we will hear from Dr. Carl Dexter, their inspirational messages for us today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kaylin White. Today is Father's Day, and on this day, we celebrate all the amazing fathers around the world. It could be a paternal father, stepfather, grandfather, foster father, brother, or even a mentor. A role of a father is to provide a sense of security, both emotionally and physically. For girls, a father is looked upon as being kind, gentle, and loving. On the other hand, boys receive tough love, strict rules, and occasionally some affection. African American fathers, to me, do not get enough credit for being a part of a child's life. They are portrayed as inactive or inattentive to their child's needs and being consistently absent in the family picture. Despite the stereotype, there are African American children who have dedicated and nurturing fathers, including myself. Dedicated in ensuring that their children understands positive moral values, respect, and love for one another, and provide us with the knowledge and lessons that will make us successful. I am blessed to have been raised with a father in my household. I was able to learn the importance of providing for your family, how to love unconditionally, and have strong spiritual beliefs. Throughout my high school journey, I had to lean on my faith and continuously put my trust in God to overcome man challenges I had to face. During these times, I always rely on two scriptures to guide me on my path, which is Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. In Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When I entered my senior year last semester, I envisioned getting recruited by a D1, D2, or junior college baseball team. I played baseball since I was 4 years old until now. My family and I spent countless hours at practices, games, and baseball showcases for many years. At this point, I started to doubt my baseball skills, develop low self-esteem, and lose faith in the possibility of ever being recognized by any college coaches. Furthermore, I needed to shift my priority and focus on what was more important in life going into my last semester before graduation. Throughout this time, I continued to maintain my 3.1 GPA, started applying to colleges, and became the captain of my school's baseball team. As the frustration settled in, not earning a baseball scholarship, I redirected my attention on the importance of keeping my grades on track for graduation and college requirements. This was a stressful time for me, especially applying to colleges, making decisions on my own about my future, and the pressure of leading a group of underclassmen baseball players. Having this type of leadership included showing respect for everyone involved in the game, from teammates. I plan to own a business in the near future, and attending the college to study business administration will help strengthen my qualifications. Therefore, attaining a college education is important to me because it provides financial security and makes me more marketable for professional careers. To begin with, pursuing a college degree puts me in an exceptional place to have financial security in the future. I want to be able to have the financial stability in order to thrive in my life, and the college education gives me the opportunity to do that. It is imperative that I graduate with an advanced degree to have an affluent career. Just having a high school diploma doesn't open up successful opportunities for higher qualified careers. Even though my career path might change after graduating from Alabama A&M, having a degree puts me in a secure financial advantage and most definitely will improve my standard of living. After taking an economic class that semester, I learned that finances is in every aspect of the workforce. Career options in the economy today for high school graduates are decreasing without earning a degree or trade. These reasons make me want to invest in my college education to have a better career option. Once I obtain a college degree, it will make me more ambitious threshold in the career market. Many employers tend to hire knowledgeable professionals and value individuals who has completed 4 years at a college or university. The existing 21st century career market consists of video game creators, architects, healthcare workers, and technical jobs. I have to be ready to expand my knowledge, skills, creativity to be competitive in a new era of a job placement. Also, the success of having a rewarding job will bring a tremendous career satisfaction. Using my knowledge in the career earned after receiving a higher education will guide me to a higher job satisfaction. For example, a high-paying salary, employment benefits, and advancement opportunities for a better position. Additionally, I'll be able to serve my community volunteering and educating high school students about the importance of college. I can become a mentor for students who are interested in majoring in business administration. When students are engaged with individuals who take a personal interest in their dreams and motivates them to strive for excellence. Equally important, using my gifts to serve the Lord, my church, and community is a personal goal I plan to achieve. Ultimately, a college education is the key to unlocking economic hardship and pave the way in the career I choose to pursue. I know that a higher education will put me in the major I plan to study, to be a critical thinker, learn complex subjects, and strengthen my ability to communicate collaboratively with others. Over the last 4 years, I have taken the responsibility and accountability to inspire myself to overcome any obstacle I may come across in pursuing my college education. I know my new journey in the fall will come
All three of us graduated from college. Carmen was living her dream in New York. Calandra's employed, bought our first house. Me, I've now completed 3 degrees. So that brought me comfort. And I just wanted to tell my story really quickly about, I went to UAB. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in exercise science, summa cum laude. I went on to pursue a master's degree in kinesiology, which is the study of movement. I earned that, and then I just graduated December 2018 with my doctorate of physical therapy. And so, sorry I can't give you guys the same response.
I also want to continue and wish a happy Father's Day to all the fathers here. I also wish a special happy Father's Day to my father, Pastor Monty Norwood, and my grandfather, Bishop Matthew Norwood. Posture, church. I want to start off talking about posture. They gave me a list of things to talk about. And it relates to my journey. You know, if I put the timer on, I'm not going to be before you too long. But I remember growing up, taking lessons. I played cello. And before you could do anything, all my teachers would emphasize this: posture, 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 posture. The reason I'm saying that, because I didn't really understand it at that time. It was really annoying to me. But now that I'm like older and I've like completed, a few things, you realize the way you start things influences the way you finish things. And that's what I want to emphasize today. I want to come to you from 2 Corinthians, I think it's chapter 12, verse 9. I was looking up a little verse to speak on today. I got a lot of different versions of it, but what I like about this verse is, I think it's written by Paul. It says, "But he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's powers may rest on me." I'm tired of God. I'm tired of God. See, everybody here, I'm not summa cum laude. I'm not any of that. If anybody knows me, it's like how I made it, I'm thank you laude. But both my degrees, Dartmouth College, I barely made it. Even the JD, I barely made it. But it comes from your vantage point. I'm blessed, nonetheless. I'm blessed. I have a certain vantage point that I've learned to adopt. That I think it really helps me, and that's what I want to impress on people today. There's a story in the Bible that I like a lot. The story of Gideon and the Midianites when he was fighting the Midianites. He took it to the spring of Herod, the spring of weakness and insufficiency. And in the Bible it says when they first saw the Midianites, they were swarming like locusts. And I think part of that reason was their vantage point. Because what ended up happening was Gideon, it was like 135,000 Midianites, and they had like less, it was like the children of Israel had like less than the Midianites, but they still had a good number. But what Gideon did is like, I want everybody with fear and intimidation in their heart to leave. So he's like, less, so they had 300, and they still won. So it's just like, the reason they did that is because God didn't want them to think that it was them, It was because of God. So I'm just sitting here right now just saying it's because of God. That right here. Yeah, I want to minister a little bit today. But like I said, it's posture influences everything. Part of my journey that I haven't really gotten to share a lot was living in the Marshall Islands for 1 year. That made you appreciate that, first it made me appreciate our impact on the earth and just living a more, disciplined life in terms of how I expend resources and my carbon footprint and things like that. But what you realize is that you should appreciate everything, the sunshine and the rain, literally. Because if it rained a lot, that means we would have water. Because it's like, we didn't have running water. We literally had to use the rainwater for our personal needs. So it's like, I didn't want to see sunshine. I wanted more water so I could take a shower. So even now, I'm like, the more rain it gets, the better I feel. It's like, it's more balanced. When it rained like last week, I was so happy. But that's really all I want to share today. I'm blessed. Appreciate the sunshine and the rain. I've had an amazing journey. I could share different parts of it. I was actually a history major with a concentration in imperialism and resistance, which also has greatly influenced my vantage point in life in terms of developing an analytical framework to see the world, to approach different issues, things of that nature. And it's not how much you make, it's how you spend it. But lastly, I want to talk about my next steps in giving back to the community because I have been so blessed. Right now, I am studying for the Georgia Bar, and it's pretty wild. That's why I got here this morning. I didn't have any idea what was going on because I was just doing my morning routine in terms of getting my questions done and typing them up and whatnot. So my head is actually still kind of spinning from that. But I will have business cards on the website soon, and what I want to do, I hopefully, with some interest in the congregation, is bring back, I don't know if we already have one, but the Bible Way Ministries legal ministry. When I was at a church in D.C., they had a legal ministry, which I was privileged to be a part of, so I would love to bring that back here. I know we used to have a prison ministry a few years ago, but I would like to bring that back, start some nonprofits. It's a lot of things you can do. But in terms of my journey, I am looking to start off in the DA office, but it's also a lot of options I'm exploring right now. Most importantly, is just passing the bar the first time, which is why I go back to how in the Bible God loves, the stories of weaknesses and insufficiencies, because right now, I'm just waiting. I'm like, hey, I gotta let them work now, So therefore, I boast in my weaknesses right now. And I'm just waiting on God to work. Praise the Lord, saints, amen. Catch me after the service, and I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Can we salute all of our graduates? give God a worthy praise. To God be the glory. I want to, before I share my remarks, ask Elder Carl Moten, before he leaves, Calandra, will you come and receive this card on behalf of Dr. Carl Moten? Can we thank God for Elder Carl and his sister Calandra? Let's give God praise for them. Thank God for them. Come on, church. You might as well come on up here so everybody can see you. Don't they look good? Happy Father's Day. We miss Melody, but this is her representation. All right. Let's give God praise for them. I am just so proud of all of these graduates. Just, yes. Sure.
I just want to say to the Bible Way family, I want to thank you all for your support for all three of my kids. You just don't know. In difficult times, you all were there. You prayed for them. You prayed for them. You prayed for them. And then you prayed for them. And your prayers worked. And having 3 graduates from college, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. And I just want to say to all of you, if I could hug all of you at one time, I would. But I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. May God bless.
That's just I would just add to that, I haven't been in a prayer meeting where I have not heard Bishop call your name. We prayed for you too. Let's give God praise for Elder Carl and this family. Amen. I just am just so full of gratitude and pride for all of these young people. This is not what I want to talk about, but do you realize we had 4 young men to become drum majors in this congregation? That's pretty significant. Minister Dayron was the first, if I'm correct, and Brother Jared and Malcolm and now Che. We're just so proud of these young men. We got some lessons in leadership to share, and we want to hear them. But I want to share a scripture, and then I want to share a testimony about where Bishop and I were this week and give a tribute to him as a father, not only to me, but to literally hundreds. And a challenge to the graduates and a challenge to all of us. I'm in Exodus, the book of Exodus, the 3rd chapter. This is a familiar portion of scripture to some, and others will hear it today for the first time. You do not have to stand, for it is a lengthy passage and it speaks for itself. But in the book of Exodus, somebody say Exodus, chapter number 3. Beginning the first verse, we find these words. One day, somebody say one day. Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amusement, though the bush was engulfed in flames. In amazement, it did not burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go and see it. Now, some of you know the story. You know that God was trying to get Moses' attention. And when the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, Moses, Moses, here I am. Moses replied, do not come any closer. The Lord warned, take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And when Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering, so I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and sometimes I say termites, look. The cry of the people of Israel has reached me, and I have seen how harshly the Egyptians abused them. And in verse 10, God gives Moses a specific instruction. God says to Moses, now go. For I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt. I want us to see this today as sort of a commencement service. Many of our graduates, they've experienced their commencement exercises. We'll consider this a commencement where all of us are receiving a commission today to go. Look at 2 or 3 people and tell them it's time to go. And some may ask the question, go where, Pastor? Do what? Go wherever God is calling you. God is talking specifically to Moses in this passage, but the same God who spoke to Moses is the same God who is present to speak to all of us. So in verse 10, God says to Moses, now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt. You got to realize they've been there 430 years. And now God is ready to deliver them. And God has picked an unlikely deliverer, someone that you would never have selected to lead the people. And you begin to understand why in verse 11, because Moses starts, like many of us would, to complain and to make excuses. Moses protested to God, who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? God answered, I will be with you. If somebody doesn't get anything else today, you ought to hear that, and you ought to hear that if God is speaking it directly to you. God says, I will be with you. Translation, I am with you. In the Bible, God was often revealed by some of the names attributed to him, and one of the Jehovah titles is Jehovah Shammah, that literally means God is here. Look at somebody and say, God is Jehovah Shammah. God is here. God says in verse 12 to Moses, I will be with you, and this is your sign that I am the one who has sent you. When you have brought the people of Egypt out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain. The mountain was Mount Sinai, also known as Mount Horeb. And God said to Moses, the sign, the confirmation of the word that I've given you is when you all come out, you're coming back to this place to worship me. But Moses kept on complaining. How many of you know some of God's people are the most complainingest people? Can I get one witness in the house? Verse 13, Moses kept on protesting. If I go to the people of Israel and tell them the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? Because they had not known the name of God. He was known as the one with no name. And so in verse 14, God replies to Moses, tell them I am who I am. It's literally a verb in the Hebrew, I am. I was who I was, I am who I am, and I will be who I will be. Say this to the people, I am has sent me to you. And God also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel, Yahweh. It was so sacred, so holy, they would not write it, they would not speak it. The God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my eternal name, my name to remember for all generations. We call him the Lord. He is the Lord who is God. He is Jehovah God. How many of you know he is the King of kings and the Lord of lords? And so God commands him again. In case some of you miss it, you tried to duck it, you tried to diminish it. The preacher's talking to somebody else, but not me. Here God is again in verse 16. Now go. Anybody hearing it? Now go and call together all the elders of Israel. Tell them Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has appeared to me. He told me, I have been watching closely, and I see how the Egyptians are treating you. I have promised to rescue you from your oppression in Egypt. I will lead you to a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. And the elders of Israel will accept your message. Then you and the elders must go to the king of Egypt and tell him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. So please let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand forces him. So I will raise my hand and strike the Egyptians, performing all kinds of miracles among them. Then at last he will let you go, and I will cause the Egyptians to look favorably upon you. They will give you gifts, and when you go, so you will not leave empty-handed. And every Israelite woman will ask for articles of silver and gold and fine clothing from her Egyptian neighbors and from the foreign women in their houses. You will dress your sons and daughters with these, stripping the Egyptians of their wealth. It reminds me of something later that said in Scripture that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. This is not the point I want to make from this text, but what is interesting is that God says to his people that when you leave, you will plunder the Egyptians. They will give you, you will ask, and they will give you articles of gold and silver and fine clothing. And one might have asked themselves, what would they need with those things if they're going into the wilderness? It's because God knew that God was going to call forth for an offering from the people to build a tabernacle for them to worship God. And so whatever God called forth from them, God had already blessed them to have it. The translation is what God requires from us, God provides for us. If God tells you to go, God is the roadmap. God will give you the resources. Whatever you need, God says, I will give it to you. If God said it, God will do it. If God spoke it, God will bring it to pass. I want to bring this plane to land in chapter 4. If you're tracking with me, go now to Exodus chapter 4. Moses continues to complain. He continues his protest. And I'm talking to you, and God is talking to you, because some of you are in the same camp. You are sitting where you're sitting on the sidelines and on the bench because you're letting other folk do what God has called you to do, but this message is for you. Moses protests again, chapter 4, verse 1. What if they won't believe me or listen to me? What if they say the Lord never appeared to you? Then the Lord asked him, what is that in your hand? That's where I want to land. What is that in your hand? Look at 2 or 3 people and ask them, what is that in your hand? What has God uniquely given you? And before you look past these words, look around and say, who is that for? I wonder, that's so deep. I wonder who got it. Look at 2 or 3 people and tell them, that's for you. That's for you. What is that in your hand? In our new members process, we do something called a shape profile. We use that word shape as an acronym, S-H-A-P-E. And what is your spiritual gift? What is your heart passion? What are your unique and particular abilities? What is your personality type? We got all kinds of personalities, and some people don't like your personality. You don't like other people's personality, but God gave you the personality, and God wants to use the personality. Your spiritual gift, the S, your heart, the H, your abilities, the A, your personality, the P, and perhaps the most important is the E, your experiences. What has God allowed you to go through that you might be a blessing to somebody else who's got to go through the same thing? What is that in your, what has God uniquely allowed you to go through? Some people look at their lives and they say, look at what has happened to me. And I hear God saying, it's not what has happened to you, it's what is happening for you. What is that in your hand? Bishop and I took a trip this week to Grand Bay, Alabama, to the Lighthouse Apostolic Church convocation, where the chief apostle, Bishop Floyd Nelson, who has ministered here in the past, had a conference theme of the sons and the fathers, and he invited a number of bishops and their sons to come. He had the bishops to introduce their sons and their sons to preach. And so it was my privilege to have my father, the bishop of the house, to introduce me and for me to preach. But what was just mind-blowing to me was the number of pastors, including the chief apostle, who literally came and laid at our bishop's feet to say, this is my father. This is my mentor. This is the one who did it, who started it for me. And I thought it was so fitting and appropriate leading up to Father's Day weekend, because not only are his 5 children this text in my heart was that as we sat with these preachers and ate with them and they chauffeured us around, they were picking our brains, they were asking us questions, they were calling me bishop. I didn't tell them I was bishop, they were calling me bishop. That seems to happen a lot. I hadn't told anybody to call me bishop. I guess they figured I was with the bishop, so I was, Bishop, what have you learned from your father? What is the most compelling lesson? I said, there's a lot I could tell you, but here's the one thing that has stuck with me down through the years, that was with me when I planted a church in Northeast Ohio in 1993, where there was nobody and nothing, and I was excited, feeling like I could go into a situation with nothing and nobody and change the world. My father has a philosophy, get this, wait a minute, I'm about to throw it out, I want you to catch it. Use what you got. Look at 2 or 3 people and tell them, you got to use what you got. Stop complaining and use what you got. What's that in your hand? I told the people I went to plant that church and nobody, look, me and God are a team. 1 can chase 1,000 and 2 can chase 10,000. If God be for me, who could ever be against me? God, I don't see how I can make it. I don't see how I can do it. But if God be for me, who could ever be against me? I told those preachers, if you latch on to that thing and realize that what God requires from you, God has already provided for you, you will let God bless you with everything that you need. And you will use what you got. That's essentially what God was saying to Moses. You keep complaining, you keep talking about what you can't do, where you can't. What's that in your hand? It was a stick. And with a stick and a stutter, God used Moses to lead 3 million people out of bondage. Somebody ought to give God a praise. This is where the song comes from. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. We sing that song, and we're about to sing it now as a song of invitation. That song literally comes from the story of Moses. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Is there anybody here today, as we stand to our feet all over the temple, who would say, Pastor, I've been making excuses. I've been complaining. I've been grumbling. I've been mumbling. I've been laying back. I'm not living in my potential. I'm not doing everything God called me to do. Look at 2 or 3 people and ask them again, now what's that in your hand? What experience has God allowed you to go through? What has God blessed you with that you need to sow, you need to give, you need to serve? The song says, if you can use anything, yes, yes, yes. You can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Yes, my hands. Take my hands, Lord. Touch my heart, Lord. Touch my heart, Lord. Speak to me. If you can use anything. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Come on, let's sing it together as a prayer to the Lord. Lord, if you can use anything. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. If you can use anything, Lord. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Take my hands. Take my hands, Lord, and my feet. Touch my heart. Touch my heart, Lord, speak through me. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use. Everybody touching somebody this morning. Let's reach out and join hands. Everybody touching somebody. Everybody touching somebody. Let's reach out and join hands. We're going to make this entire sanctuary an altar. God, we hear you today. It's not just about the dads. It's not just about the grads. We celebrate the fathers. We thank you for every father in the room. We thank you for every graduate, every achiever in the room. God, I hear the voice of the Lord to all of us asking, what's that in your hand? What have I blessed you with? What have I blessed you to go through? What have I invested in you? God, you've given us gifts, but the gift is not for me. The gift is to serve. The gift is to make a difference. You called us to be And we receive it in Jesus' name. Come on, church. Somebody bless our God. Somebody give praise to our God. For he alone is worthy to be praised. Come on, bless him in this house. Receive the Spirit of the Lord. The anointing of the Lord that destroys the yoke. Come on. Receive the blessing of the Lord that maketh us rich. It added no sorrow to it. Come on, let's say it. If you can use anything. If you can use anything, Lord, you can. If there's a soul here today who does not know Jesus as Savior, you can come. You ought to come. Anybody here today who's not been baptized, you ought to say yes. Won't you come? Anybody without a church home, a church family, won't you say yes? Here are my hands. Here are my feet. Touch my heart. Touch my heart, Lord, speak through me. If you can use anything. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Let's flip it and go to Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living. Come on, let's praise him with that. Lord. If you hear a special prayer, you ought to come. You can come. This altar is open to you. To those without the Lord, without Christ. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary. Pure and holy. Tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary. For you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary. Pure and holy. Tried and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living. Praise in this house today. Come on and give God a praise in this house today. We thank God for all of our fathers today. There's a unity prayer in your program bulletins. And I want you to turn there if you still have them. Look on with somebody. We're going to say this prayer together as we honor our fathers together. When you have it, say, I got it. It is a unity prayer at the bottom of the order of service. The unity prayer, we're going to pray it together. I hear you turning. When you have it, say, I got it. Let's read it together. Everlasting Father, I pray that you would help me to realize how brief my time on earth will be. Let me channel my energies into your pursuits, spending my time wisely and not wasting it on selfish trivialities or destructive sins. I want to walk with you in harmony and joy. Use me, Lord. Use me to the fullest extent. Make my life count for you. In the name. And the church said, and the church said again. We're going to receive now our Lifestyle Capital Stewardship gifts. If you came in late or you waited until the end, would you stand with us as we receive this last offering? And we'll have our last words of benediction from the bishop of the house. Give me Sean up there. My. I think that's the Father's Day present.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. She didn't want me to call her name, but everybody need to know. Ashley Bradford wants to become a member. Can we welcome her? And we have some women up here to welcome her.
Is there another one who wants to become a member? It's not too late. Is there another one? Come. Thank you, Jesus. Bless you, Lord. Praise God, praise God. Bless you, bless you. God bless you, God bless you. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. All right. God bless you. God bless you. Bless you. God bless you. Put those hands together one more time. Praise the Lord for this beautiful service today. We want to thank God for those that prepared this worship today. Dr. Griffin and Dr. Melvina Norwood, who put it together. Congratulations to all of our graduates, children in school. Put your hands together one more time. Everybody stand on your feet. I usually say to our young people and children, whatever you do, do it so well. Until people will say, you must be from Bible way. Praise the Lord. So we want you to know we are extremely proud of you. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. So much more I could say, but the time has gone, and I'm sure you're ready for your chicken. Praise the Lord. Now unto him who is able to do exceeding and abundantly above all that you're able to ask or think, according to his power, which worketh in us. Unto him be glory and honor, both now and forevermore. In the name of the Christ of Calvary. All of the people of God said, amen. Amen and amen.